We believe engagement and dialogue and diplomatic relations are important. We believe that these tensions and specifically related to the executions over the weekend are things that these countries need to work out bilaterally.
Iranian leaders could not have been more proud, having convinced the world they could be trusted to not use their nuclear program for bomb-making purposes, preparing to have their frozen billions of dollars finally released, and seemingly recreating their image to one of a nation that, while still not completely trustworthy, may be, just maybe, ready to emerge from their cave of global hate and war. Along comes Saudi Arabia, the execution of a jailed Shiite cleric who had languished in a Saudi jail for almost 3 years. And just when Iran thought they were about to get away with a makeover, they are once again burning flags, looting embassies, and calling for war. Could it be that no nation has played an enemy better than the Saudis played Iran? Answers up. Our guest is a resident fellow at the American Enterprise Institute with a focus on Iran, its intentions, and eventual goals. Welcome J. Matthew McInnis to the Hard Line. Matthew, thank you so much for joining us. You heard what I gave as the intro here. It seems to me and many others looking at it that the Saudis did a brilliant job here. They didn't even have to go to war yet with Iran, and they basically put the wingnuts back on global view, if you will. What do you think?
No, I think the Saudis were definitely trying to send a message, and frankly to kind of change the equation a bit with this execution. We've been wondering if this execution was going to happen for some time, actually several years. And I think the Saudis knew there was going to be a lot of backlash, a lot of pressure. They decided to go forward, and the Iranians were not able to keep things under control. As you've seen the pictures of the Saudi embassy in Tehran, their consulate in Mashhad in western Iran being attacked. It's a real embarrassment for the Iranians. And frankly, I think the Iranians kind of know they messed this one up. And I think that the Saudis in many ways were able to use this situation to further isolate Iran, or at least try to begin to isolate Iran in the region.
Does it make sense to you that the Saudis are the one who basically pulled the trigger here, who were the ones who basically got Iran to get frothed at the mouth once again and start to create that old Iranian hate?
Well, I think that was part of the calculations. I think that the main calculation for the Saudis was they needed to show that they are not going to sit idly by while Iran engages in activities from their perspective across the region that are threatening to them and potentially could destabilize Saudi Arabia. So I think that the main thing that Saudi was trying to do was to show that regardless of what they feel is the U.S. backing away from its commitments in the region, that they need to show strength right now, and regardless of what Obama wants to do, they're going to take the risk to do that.
In many ways, I guess, are there those critics who need to thank the Saudis? Because let's look at the money here. I love the always follow the money trail, if you will. And sitting in all those foreign banks around the world, the Iranians have anywhere from $29 to $150 billion. But now when they are seen once again, as I pointed out, looting, rioting, burning American flags, basically getting that right back up to that hate once again. Do you think maybe that this was part of the Saudis thinking to stop them from getting the money, not just in our region, but stop them from getting the money? They can't then rebuild a military. They can't then build their nuclear program. We are putting a stop to them before they come after us.
Well, certainly Saudi Arabia was not happy with the nuclear deal. Publicly, they had to support it for diplomatic reasons. But privately, I think they were angrier than the Israelis were about the nuclear deal. And so I think that there is a concern on their part that they need to be able to push back and remind the world of the kind of threat that whether it comes to the nuclear deal, or frankly what they fear may be happening in Syria is some type of deal between the U.S. and Russia that will essentially side with Iran's interest in the civil war there, which will of course be very terrifying for the Saudis. They feel very threatened by having a new dominant Iranian-Russian alliance to their north. So I think that that's something that the Saudis really wanted to use the situation to send a message.
I got about 45 seconds left. Is there a possibility that what the Saudis have done here and the reaction by the Iranians will then force a good part of the rest of the world to pause in letting them go ahead with the nuclear program, with getting their money back? Do you think the Saudis can succeed? Do you think it's already starting? And I think, unfortunately, we just lost. Matt, did we get you back there? Okay, we lost him, unfortunately. There was the question right there. And we're going to get J. Matthew McInnis back again sometime. We lost the transmission, unfortunately. Our apologies for that. But there is the question. Now, the Iranians are looking to see if they can get $150 billion back. And once again, they're back on the world stage, showing that they are just as hateful as they have been in the past when they were trying to tamp all that down. So here's the question now that we want to ask you. Do you think that the Saudis set the trap? Do you think the Iranians fell into the trap? And do you think this proves to the world that the Iranians cannot be trusted and they are too warlike to get that money and their hands on those nuclear program improvements, if you will? Send us your comments. We'll talk about it here. Political football with the political animals. It's coming up next right here on The Hardline.